Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News. We finally have the big matchup we've been waiting for here at Masters Madrid. TenZ versus Gen.G, the champions of their respective regions, Americas and the Pacific. They play today, but some massive series to get us to this point. And lots of reaction as well. TenZ, for the humble man that he is, giving a bit of trash talk the way of the loud yesterday as they go on to win that series. And also Zelta's talking about Sacy and the fact that he's basically a traitor to the Brazilian scene. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Funny tweet here, to be fair, from GenG as well. They got some reaction just because, I mean, look, Sentinels are printing money right now with this bundle, and understandably so. Quick one from Ye as well. I think he even admitted in the replies here that he saw this on Reddit, but it is nonetheless a decent idea. Deadlock is not particularly used, problematic, just because the way the trip works, if you can walk past it and it doesn't trip, it's like, it's kind of pointless because you never really know whether you're actually holding the flank or not. So yeah, he says, how about if a player gets too close, it detects the player, but it doesn't necessarily stun the player unless they actually make noise. So that's something to think about. Definitely that agent could be more viable. We've seen Deadlock used like once in pro play over the last several months, so that probably does need to change. Also from Alejandro, confirmation, well not really confirmation, but we've talked about the rumours on this, and when Alejandro says it for Sheep Esports, it's basically true that Icy has a verbal agreement with G2 to play on their VCT team. They also looked at Penny, they looked at a Proto, they never happened though, and Icy is going to be the man instead. So Net is gone. I'm still a bit confused by this change. I'm not really sure why. I'd love to hear some explanation over time, just because usually your feeling is when you've won Ascension, you've become the best team in challenges, you qualify in. My expectation was they were going to keep the same roster. They didn't. They got rid of Tex. They brought in Leaf, which immediately was a bit of a surprise to me. And now they're making another move. So just a little bit strange. I'm sure that as friends, I imagine they still get along very well. But the team wasn't performing on the level that they wanted. And now they're making an interesting move. Maybe it's going to work out for them, but I feel like there's going to be some role questions here if this move does come to fruition, which we believe that it will do. Speaking of challenges, by the way, we had the final couple of games. I wish there were like more matches played here, really, because especially I think in challenges, you don't need to spread out the games as much as you do in the Pro League. I wish they just played more often, really. But anyway, this is how it currently looks. We had two games yesterday, TTR versus the Glazers. Turtle Tube, of course, this is. They got the victory 2-1 at the end. B-Dog, Corey, and the boys getting the job done there. Of course, Stella, now on that team, of course, formerly 100T. They get the victory there. And the other series was YFP Gaming versus Thinking Men. And this is another close 2-1 for Penny and those guys, of course. So Penny, the player, as we just saw, potentially links to G2. That never happens. He is staying on YFP and they get the victory. So the respective groups look like this after the first weekends, with 3 1-0 teams, 3 0-1 teams, because that is literally how the mass of the situation works. And these are all the matches to continue over the coming weeks as well, to see which teams are actually pretty good in challenges right now, because there are plenty of good teams, but MAT impressed me the most of the matches that they played so far. But let's talk about the VCT games from last night, because there were some massive ones. It was really interesting to see again GenG play Paper X, because I think when they played in the Pacific playoffs, it was like, well, this is really interesting. Paper X are obviously a great roster, but the question is, even locally, like regionally, domestically, that they should be the stronger team on paper. Internationally, there has been some questions about Paper X and their playstyle, and I've just been massively impressed by GenG. I feel like there will be. If Paper X lose today and they go out of the tournament in 4th place, I think there will be questions on whether Paper X's playstyle is actually still viable on an international level. If they beat Lao today, then fair enough. And they're clearly still a team with massive amounts of potential. But with Jing gone, I think GenG are showing that their approach is the superior approach currently in the region. Not like GenG don't play aggressive and fast-paced and all these other factors, because they do. They're a great team to watch as well. But the W gaming style of Paper X, I mean, you see examples of it everywhere you look, to be honest. They shoot very straight as well. But the question is, from an international perspective, is this as effective as it might otherwise be? Have teams kind of caught onto some of the ideas that they play with, some of the setups that Paper X run with all the duelists and, you know, the agents that they like to run? It's pretty crazy, and they go down 2-0. I mean, this, again, was very impressive. Munchkin played really well in this series as well. Texture, Meteor, like all of these guys turned up. The consistency in the slaying here was really impressive. Mindfreak had a shocker, actually. I don't know whether it was like, you know, a kind of carryover from Neil Zeno talking trash to him the other day, but he had a terrible series here. But Split was 13-8 on GenG, on Paper X's pick. That was a GenG victory. And then Lotus 13-9. So in the end, pretty emphatic, right? And I haven't really seen PaperX lose like this, certainly from a regional perspective, in rather a long time. Gen.G, of course, are playing extremely well at the moment. I've just been really impressed with those guys. And finally, we are actually going to get the Sentinels Gen.G matchup we've been looking for, right? We know that EMEA as a region is in a bit of a tricky spot. Probably Fnatic might still be the best team in their region if they played, over the course of the season. I'm still expecting Fnatic to be the strongest team, but they didn't win. They didn't deserve to win their own playoffs. KC outplayed them in that series, and job done. KC made it through. But when it came to the international tournament, on the pressure, with the stage, all these other factors, KC Heretics didn't have enough to make it to the playoffs. The Chinese region has been very questionable. FPX were okay, and Edward Gaming looks pretty good until they got slammed out by Loud in just absolutely dominant fashion. So it really is down to who's the stronger region, Pacific or the Americas. My feeling has always been that it's probably the Americas. I think we saw that last year when Evil Geniuses became the best team in the Americas, and bang, they win the World Championship. I feel like the same is still true today, but we'll find out in a couple of hours, right, when Gen.G plays Sentinels, because that's the series we've been looking for some time. We've got to talk about how we got to this point, because Loud played Sentinels, another rematch of their own finals from the Americas side, where Sentinels won, of course, in a very close series at the time. And we get a similar story here. John QT, though, what a player. Quality tactics, they call him nowadays. But it's just split. I think if you decide, if you allow split into the series against Sentinels, I think it's a death sentence, to be honest. Now, to be fair, Gen.G like that map as well, so they might go for it. But Sen are so good at split, it's borderline ridiculous. And they probably should have won this game 13-3. They won it 13-4. But, I mean, to dominate Loud 13-4 on any map is just so impressive. And it was the John QT show there, again, on split. Ridiculous. Like, how good they are at that map is just absurd. So then they go to an icebox. This is a map that Loud very much like. That was their pick, of course. They were probably expected to win it. They did win it in a very close overtime. But TenZ, it's great to see this from TenZ actually, because I love stuff like this. I think it just creates great little moments. Because TenZ is a really humble, down-to-earth guy. But when they swing into him and he gets all the kills that he needs, he comes on saying, who are these guys peeking? Who do they think they're peeking? Like, come on, we're going to headshot them every single time when they clutch this pistol round. But in the end, it goes to overtime after some, again, ridiculous moments. And it's Loud who get the win. 14-12. So I'm sure the Sentinels fans, this, I'm sure, was a very stressful series for all parties. And then it goes to Sunset, a map where Sentinels for some time were incredibly good. People called it Senset, because they were so good at it for a period. And they still are really good at it. Their record on Sunset is still pretty undeniable. But they're no longer dominating teams on this map. And Loud took them to another overtime. But in the end, it was Sacy who made the big moment play, down 4-3 on the offensive side. 1 versus 4 for Sacy. At this point, he's already got the first kill. Wingman, of course, gets the bomb down. He gets this first kill, although for some reason we don't see it because the Twitter killer is kind of messed up, and then he finds himself in the 1 versus 2, gets the kill on Kawanzan, and then trades out Saadhak as well. I mean, he goes down to 5 HP here, and Saadhak just misses all the shots, to be honest, and Sacy sprays him down. 4-4, hugely important round right there, and in the grand scheme of things, that helped them get to the overtime, and they got the victory. Ridiculous series from Sentinels, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a grand finals rematch.
As well, TenZ with a pop flash.
Getting out, not bad. It's hard round.
They've got 4 players to deal with. Make it 3.
That is a huge kill.
Shot dart. It's good for the damage. TenZ going to be forced out wide. TenZ.
Whoa!
You can't be getting away with this.
Oh,
surely not.
wow.
Wow!
Man. Kyrie and LeBron?
That's a 2v4.
What?
That's ridiculous.
Dude, that first kill, oh my god.
To give Saadhak 2 kills was about the only way that Sen could have. Not that it's their fault. They didn't know where exactly he was positioned.
Damn, bro.
But for TenZ to recover that, he's forced to take that duel there as he crosses back. The sidelines. Yeah, he's forced to take fights because of their utility, because of how they're positioned.
Good job. Good job.
Who are they peeking? Who are they peeking?
Hey, yo, let's go.
Give it to him, man. Oh my god.
He said, who
I
are
mean, the
they
players
teaching?
online
Let's
are
go.
so talented, and TenZ is just
Let's go.
It was kind of weird to hear the crowd go against Sacy. They were like chanting all the Brazilian chants at him.
Oh really?
Yeah, it was a bit. It didn't feel like, it felt kind of weird, like a different kind of timeline we were in.
Yeah, he's kind of a traitor.
Yeah, he's kind of a traitor. I mean, you know, I'm glad to have him, but it's like having him against his own team type thing.
They're lost, right?
Yeah, they're lost. Yeah.
I mean,
so it was interesting to see some of the reaction, right? I mean, I know Sacy and Pancada felt this when they went to Sentinels initially, that they were kind of abandoning Brazil in some respects, because obviously Loud, massive Brazilian organization and team. It's understandable that I get knocked down. There's Sacy guys 1v4ing us to obviously help them get to the overtime. But it is understandable and definitely still remains a big storyline going forward. And obviously TenZ talking a bit of trash is always good to see. And as John QT says, I think I have a problem because he dominated this series on an individual level. We'll see some of the numbers here in a second. Saadhak as well. I'm sure there was, well, clearly there was lots of negative reactions and frustration to the way that Loud lost this series, because I think they'll look at this and think they definitely should have won it. They didn't have great performances, Sen, from TenZ, from Zekken, from their real star players. John QT was the star man of the series. I'm not expecting that to continue necessarily going forwards, and Loud had way more kills than Sentinels did. This has been a bit of an issue for Loud in the past as well, where they will outslay. The rounds they win, they'll win emphatically, but the rounds they lose are important rounds, but they'll lose them in closer ways that really cost them the game in the end. And you can see this in the numbers. Like, if I just showed you the scoreboard, which team do you think won this series, right? Especially after Split was dominant. Like, the next couple of maps of the series, Icebox was majorly outslayed by Loud for the win, but Sunset was majorly outslayed for the loss. I mean, we can see the numbers here. To have 18 more kills, which is pretty sure what this is, right? Yeah, 18 more kills in a game of, well, Sunset or just any game, and to lose is kind of unforgivable, right? So, yeah, Saadhak needs to consider, okay, what went wrong there? Quick also had a monster series from him, also, like, one of the series that we haven't seen. Okay, Quick's very good, but this was one of his best series I think we've seen from him so far. But that leaves us right about here. Now, again, there was talk about potentially flipping the first couple of matches, because you guys remember this happens before as well, where Sentinels had to play first the next day. I'm pretty sure this actually never happened, just because if you look at this schedule, they already planned, it seems, for the upper final here, as you guys can see here, to be the first game. So, yeah, it seems like this was already planned, that it would be Gen.G Sentinels, or it would be the upper final first. But that is going to be a great game, just to see, like, where the teams are at, respectively. Gen.G have played really well. I think that I'd favour Sentinels, and I think that I'd favour Loud over PaperX as well. But, yeah, we'll see. This is upper finals to make the grand finals. This is an elimination game. What a set of matches that we've had so far, and I'm sure that is set to continue. So very much enjoyed your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.